Justice not just legal part 10 in audio. Chad lies on his back in bed and little Smidgen crawls over and nestles up to him. Her left arm lies across his waist. My dear little Smidgen, it would be best that you sleep in your own bed in your own room after tonight. Not that there is anything wrong with you sleeping with me, I will still come in your room and love you to sleep. You can leave your door open and I will leave my door open. Okay daddy, I know that is best. People would think badly of us since they don't know our true love and virtue. They would think all kinds of filthy things about us because of the filthy way they think. With some men all they think of is sex. They think that is all a lady is good for. They don't know how to love. Isn't that a stupid way to think? Yes, it is, Smidgen. Chad is amused at this little girl's view on life. The phantom girl knows all about it. She is a wise lady. Do you really think the teen phantom is a girl? I am positive, no boy would write like that. Well, maybe if it was a boy like you. After all, you said you were a really neat girl once. Anyway, you are not like other boys. You are the only one that I have told that it is a girl, except I told my daddy. She is like us. She doesn't want anyone to know who she is. Have you read her columns much? I read all of them until I got loose from that poor lady and run into the woods. My daddy always seen that I had them. He thought it was a boy and he would tease me. He said I would probably marry him one day. Do you think it is a boy? No, I think it is a girl. Chad snuggles little Smidgen in his arms for a long while. Nothing in his life feels as peaceful as snuggling this little girl in his arms. She is the sweetest little girl he has ever known. It made him think of cuddling a little kitten. With her held tight in his arms, he speaks softly, "We had better get ourselves to sleep. We are getting up early in the morning. Good night, Smidgen." Chad awakes to the smell of venison frying. He gets dressed and makes it into the kitchen. Little Smidgen has a lot of venison sandwiches made. The venison had been ground and put into patties. She puts the sandwiches in Ziplocs and she places them in Chad's day pack. She plans to carry his day pack herself. Will it be okay to eat breakfast on the trail? Yes, that will be great, but you should get more sleep than you have been getting. I just woke up and I wasn't sleepy anymore. I wanted to love you and kiss you, but I couldn't. It would have waked you. I got things ready so we can leave at dawn. I can take a nap later today. Okay, I suppose you can, but I doubt that you will. They get started at daybreak as little Smidgen had planned. Little Smidgen is set on taking the lead. It troubles Chad at first, but after a half hour he realized she knew more about roaming the high country than he does. She knows where she is going and she knows how to get there. Sometimes it is hard to keep up with her. It has been about 2 hours on the trail. They come to a little clearing. Little Smidgen drops her gear to the ground and she speaks softly. My dear Chad, I would like to rest a bit before we go on. That is an excellent idea, little Smidgen. Smidgen spreads her blanket on the ground and lies down. Chad drops his gear to the ground and stretches out on his back on the blanket beside the little girl and closes his eyes. His plan is to take good advantage of this. Chad is very tired and he soon drifts into the dream world. Chad wakes with a startled sense of reality and sits up. He is concerned about little Smidgen, but there she is beside him and she is sound asleep. He studies her for a while. She is certainly all female. There is nothing about her which is boyish, yet at times when she is in her jeans hiking, and she makes him think of her as a little boy. She is such a sweet little thing. It became clear in his mind he could and might marry her when she is old enough. Their spirits were the same. It is beyond anything he has ever known. Annie comes to Chad's mind. She is much like little Smidgen, but he had a bond with little Smidgen's spirit. He could not understand it nor could he explain it. It was like she needed him and he needed her. Chad knew little Smidgen would do anything she could to make him happy, and he would risk his life for little Smidgen. Chad lies back down and closes his eyes, and with the thought of their true love Chad drifts into the misty silence of sleep. He is asleep when little Smidgen hugs him and kisses him on the cheek. My dear Chad, do you think we should go now? Chad opens his eyes and takes her in his arms. It is with more passion than he has ever felt before in all his life. She knows things were different. My dear Chad, your love is like those sun rays, it is penetrating all the way through me. You seem different now that you had a good nap, and you seem much happier. I am much happier. I never knew until now that I loved you so much. You seem to be a part of me. I will never forsake you, and I just might marry you when you are old enough. There is a very good possibility of that. That makes me very happy, my dear Chad. Would you like a sandwich? That would be great, Smidgen. They finish their sandwich, then they are soon on their way up the mountain. Chad is at ease with little Smidgen taking the lead. She knows these Rockies far better than he does, she knows the dangers as well, and it seems strange for her to keep warning him of the dangers. Little Smidgen had found her a good hardwood stick in the barn. It is 5 feet long and she handles it with awesome skill. With a sharp point on it she could kill a cougar with it, at least poke its eye out before it knew what was happening. She knows the easiest way up the mountain. Little Smidgen, have you been here before? Most of the places I have. My daddy and I have been all over these parts. Sometimes there was a lot of snow though. We will soon come to a nice place to rest. It has a great view all around. You will love it. Chad is surprised. It is a little flat top mountain. It has a nice meadow with pine trees around it. Little Smidgen drops her gear beside a rock. The rock is just the right height for her to set on with ease. She takes 2 sandwiches out of her pack. 6 feet away is a similar rock about the right height for Chad. He drops his gear and he sits down on his rock. Little Smidgen walks over to Chad, kisses him on the cheek and gives him a sandwich. You are a very sweet little girl, Smidgen. She sits on her rock eating slowly. The calm is awesome. It is so peaceful. They both have finished their sandwich now. This little girl is in a quiet and strange mood. Chad's eyes have been focused on her for some time, enjoying her sincere personality. A motion beyond her a little to the right alerts his attention. He slowly picks up his bow and he retrieves an arrow from its quiver. He carefully places it in his bow ready for launch. Chad's motion alerts little Smidgen and she looks up at him. Don't shoot it, my dear Chad, it is just a dog, it only looks like a wolf. I was not going to shoot it, I was only being prepared in case I needed to shoot it. I know that, my dear Chad, I know you will kill nothing unless you need to, you are that kind of person. I am sorry for speaking as I did, I was just concerned about the dog. Chad is stunned with her kindness and apology. It melts his heart. She is so caring and kind, and it is hard to believe she is just a child. Chad is a bit troubled. How did she know the dog was there? She has never looked at it, it is behind her. Smidgen realizes his problem. She must put his mind at ease. My dear Chad, I have a very good feeling about the dog. I felt it looking at me before you seen it. I just didn't want you to think I was weird. Sometimes I know things and I don't know how I know, like those cats. I knew they were stalking me. That was why I found that hole and crawled in it. I was in it a while before the cats came to eat me. When I spied on you when I was under the bridge, I knew I would be your wife one day. I don't know how I know these things. She is not the usual little girl, but she is not weird. She has a connection with the spirit world, and that is not weird, it is wonderful but unusual. Let me go and talk to the dog. I will be careful, I will go in peace and love. Chad is afraid for her, but he could not tell her not to go, not after all she had taught him. He had no reason to doubt her about the cats, but he certainly wondered about her being his wife. She slowly gets up and walks toward the dog and she softly speaks to it. Wolf, is that you? The dog slowly comes out of the bushes, then trots over to her. It is wagging its tail. It is you, Wolf. Where is Jack? She kneels down, putting her arms around its neck. She gives it a hug. She gets up and the dog follows her back to Chad. This is Wolf. She is Jack's dog. Jack is a friend of my daddy, daddy has told me about him. The dog sniffs Chad, Chad pets and pats its neck. You are a great dog. The dog looks to be a mix between a husky and wolf. They are packed up ready to go. The dog whines and heads back from where it had come. My dear Chad, I think Jack is in some kind of trouble or he has been hurt. Let's follow Wolf. Chad and little Smidgen follow Wolf for an hour or so. They then find themselves looking at a man on the ground that is either dead or asleep. He is well groomed, he has a nicely trimmed silver beard and hair. He is a man in his late 60s. Wolf nudges the man's head with its nose. The man opens his eyes and he stares at little Smidgen. He is deep in thought, trying to figure out something. Girlie, is that really you, little Cynthia? Those cats didn't get you after all. She stands and stares at Jack in wonder. Yes, it is really me, I am all here. You have grown into a fine little lady. Jack looks at Chad. The first time I saw this little thing she was no more than a nubbin. Old Bobby, her daddy, thought she would never get bigger than a poodle. We will talk later. My name is Jack Hill, my dog's name is Wolf. I am in a hell of a fix here. I pulled a fool stunt, I think I broke my leg. I've been laying here for about 5 or 6 hours, I hope my bones haven't started to mend in the wrong position. Son, could the two of you set my leg? I don't want to go to one of those fancy doctors. I am Chad Platt. We will do our best, but I would still feel better if you would have it checked by a doctor to see if we did it right. Just do it the best you can, son, you let me worry about the rest. Little Smidgen has kneeled down to Jack's leg. She has pulled her knife from its sheath and cuts his pant leg from 6 inches above his knee all the way down. She lays each side back to expose his leg. She examines his leg very closely. She then unties his boot. My dear Chad, would you pull off his boot now, then his sock, but do it very slow and carefully. Chad is very amazed at this little girl. She is quite the little nurse. Jack, your leg is not broken, you have a badly sprained ankle. Do you really think so, girlie? My whole leg is in dreadful pain. Sprains can hurt much more than a break, but your ankle might be broken or cracked. The hurt can go all the way up your leg. We need to get you home and get some ice on your ankle. My cabin is a half a mile up the hill. You can go up and bring old Bullet, my burro, down here. She will haul me up. 4 hours later, Jack is in his easy chair. He feels quite well except for the slight pain he has in his ankle. Chad is sitting on the couch facing Jack. Little Smidgen is in Chad's lap, snuggled up to him. Son, you don't need to hide your identity from me. I am a rebel, but I am not a fugitive. I am on your side. So, you outsmarted those cats and dogs too, did you? You two are sure a fancy pair, you two fugitives traipsing around out here fancy free in this paradise. You got more friends out here than you know. Folks this side of Shawnee are mostly rebels, not fugitives, but they are rebels. They got no use for those legalized thugs. Chad wonders how Jack knows who he is. Chad feels safe with leveling with Jack though. I turned into a deer and those hounds lost their minds and those cats thought I would taste bitter. Yes, I heard about that. I heard that interview with Dave Warner. I see you two are lovers. How did you two fugitives find each other? How long have you been together? Little Smidgen replies, as you say, we are lovers. My dear Chad is going to marry me when I am old enough. We have been together since the day I got loose from my social worker. Girlie, you plan to get everything you set your mind on, don't you? You are just like your daddy and mother in that way. You are as cute as your mother was. I think you got more smarts than your daddy does though. He should not have half killed that officer. I agree, the officer need what he got after the bastard shot your little dog. He should have been hung from a tree, but your daddy only hurt himself and you, and it couldn't bring your little dog back. Of course it looks as though you are faring quite well. You have a lover and future husband. I could envy you, girlie, except for you being a fugitive. Little Smidgen has been looking at Jack waiting to speak a word. You knew my mother. Yes, I did. You are a spit-in image of little Amy. The first I saw you, you could not have been more than a 2-year-old. You were just a little toy doll back then. Your mother was a little lady, but she was beautiful, she was rugged, and she could tame these Rockies better than any man could. Your daddy lived 18 years of paradise on earth with your mother. There were no two that loved each other as those two did.